In this video, we're going to do something different, but it's going to be a whole lot of fun. I've been seeing this trending on TikTok and Instagram, and so what it is the runway effect. And so I'm going to create something like this. Let's get it. What's up, it's Alon and welcome to another video. If this is your first time here and you'd like to learn how to make videos, or if you're really interested in tips and tricks and how to make some really cool effects, please consider subscribing and clicking the alert icon to be notified when new content comes available. So let's jump right into how you set up this runway effect. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to, on your camera, you want to make sure that you have control of all of your manual settings, because that's going to be really important, especially your white balance. Now, the other thing that you're going to need is a tripod, because you want to place your camera on a tripod because you're going to do either a continuous shot or you can do multiple shots. But the main thing you want to avoid is any camera movement, because you want to have a clean slate as far as setting up the actual framing. Another important thing is back to the manual settings. So having your aperture set appropriately so you have enough light coming in, as well as setting up your manual focus. And so you want to have your manual focus because you don't want the camera to have any type of breathing when it comes to trying to figure out where the focus should be. The other important thing is making sure that your white balance is set properly and it is set manually, because as you walk in front of the camera, you're going to get some shadows, you're going to get some movement of light, and from shot to shot, you're going to throw off the actual white balance and have a difficult time, or more of a challenging time, I should say, in post trying to make that right. So now that we've got this set up as far as what all the prerequisites to get this going, let's dive into the computer and let's start editing. So I'm going to be using Final Cut Pro for this tutorial, and I'm also going to shoot this footage vertically so that I can post this video on either Instagram or on TikTok. So once we're in Final Cut Pro, we're going to create a new project, give the project a name, and then under video, we're going to switch it from 4K to vertical, and under resolution, we're going to change that to 1080 by 1920, and then we're going to go ahead and click OK. The first thing we want to do under generator is grab a custom color and put it to the timeline. That way it allows us to easily move our footage around on the timeline. The next thing we want to do is grab the footage and drag it down to the timeline. So because we shot this vertically, we have to go into transform and change the position or the rotation of the footage. So we're going to do that, and we're going to change that rotation to 90. So now that the footage is going to be aligned with our vertical setup. We also need to scale it up to about 180%. Now this allows us to fill the frame. So one important thing to notice within this footage, there's a mirror that's on the wall, and it actually helps me to line up where the footage should begin. So as we dive back into the edit, we can figure out exactly where we want this clip to start and where we want to cut off the excess in the beginning. So next we want to do is make a cut right after the subject moves in front of the table. That's going to allow us to start doing some masking. So we're gonna go to the mask tool, and we're gonna grab draw mask and drag that over to the second part of the clip that we split the smaller footage. We're actually gonna put our points around the walkway area. And we're going to hit invert. That's going to allow us to place the clip below the top clip so that it kind of shows through in the entry of the next scene. Once we're done all of our masking, we're going to highlight both of the clips on the timeline. We're going to right click and create a compound clip so that we can organize the footage a little bit better. So now we're ready to drag the second shot or the second footage down to the timeline, and we're going to drag it underneath of the first shot. Because the masking we did it inverted, it allows us to show the entryway of the second shot of me walking back into the scene. Setting a marker where we actually did the masking allows me to position the bottom clip or the second clip exactly where the mask begins. And so we're going to drag that through the timeline and kind of see how that looks. That looks pretty good. So we're going to follow the same steps we did on the previous clips, and we're going to repeat this process over and over for shot number 3 and shot number 4. So we're going to drag it down to the timeline. We're going to rotate it and get it in the right vertical space. Then we're also going to scale it up to about 180%. Then we're going to move it down below the previous clip that we had in place, and we'll begin to see the masking effect over and over. Now, there are some instances where we have to go back into the compound click and adjust the mask based upon the positioning and how quickly we want the subject to come into the frame as the person is leaving the frame. So once we go into the compound clips of each of the footage and adjust the mask and positioning the mask exactly where we want the subject A to come into the scene of subject B exiting the scene, we make those changes. Now at this point, the other two steps is really optional, and I did some additional steps just to cover up some of the mistakes. And so basically what I'm going to do is create another draw mask on top of the compound clips to smooth some out of the lights changing because of the shadows of how the walkway is coming across in front of the camera. Also, I'm going to add a little bit of a lens flare and some flashing from the camera to give a little bit nicer effect. Like I said, now all of these things are very optional. You don't have to do it. And the final things that I'm going to do is I'm going to add some music to the track and position the music and line it up so that it loops just right in rhythm with the actual beat, so that I can play this and put this on either Instagram or TikTok. The final step that you will want to do is do a little bit of color grading to ensure that all of the lights and all of the sequences on all of the colors match up perfectly. And once you've done all these things, you have a pretty good sequence. So let's play this back one more time. If you did find value in this video, please do hit the like button. That'll be greatly appreciated, as well as consider subscribing. I really hope that you like this tutorial. This was a fun one, and you can do many different types of variations of this, and I would love to see some of the creativities that you guys come up with. So do leave a note in the comments if you've ever tried this, or if you plan to try to use this on your TikTok or on your Instagram. And if you are interested in how to learn more about how to make videos, check out these playlists right here. Like always, stay safe, stay fun, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.